We're so often told that to innovate, you've got to break things, right? But what if the smartest move isn't to pick a fight at all? What if the biggest, most incredible opportunities are in creating something brand new in a space where you have literally no competitors? That's what we're going to dig into. You know this motto. Of course you do. It was the rallying cry for early Facebook, and it pretty much captures Silicon Valley's obsession with disruption. It's that exciting story, the scrappy startup taking down some huge industry giant. It's a great story, and it's totally baked into how we think about progress.
But here's the thing. The not-so-glamorous truth is that picking a fight with Goliath is, well, it's often a losing game. When you go out there to break things, you're not just entering a market, you're pretty much declaring war. And that war, it comes with a really, really high price tag.
To see what this looks like in the real world, let's talk about MoviePass. Oh, MoviePass. They didn't just want to compete. No, they launched an all-out assault on the entire movie theater business model with an offer that, let's be honest, just sounded way too good to be true. And man, the MoviePass story happened so fast. They dropped their wild plan in August 2017 and just saw this explosive growth. But all that growth came with a huge catch. It got the attention of the big dogs, the established players like AMC. And they didn't just sit back and watch. Oh no, they fought back, launching their own service by June 2018. See, MoviePass had poked a bear that had way deeper pockets and basically controlled the whole playground. By September 2019, poof, it was all over. We all love a good disruptor story, right? But for every one David that actually wins, there are countless others that just get quietly crushed. The big guys, the incumbents, they have tons of money, established networks, and brand loyalty that's been built up for years. When you directly threaten their main business, you better believe they're going to use all of that to fight back. And more often than not, they win. Okay, so if a head-on fight is that risky, what's the alternative? Is there another way to innovate and grow that doesn't involve a brutal head-on battle? You bet there is, and it's a path of creation, not destruction. And this leads us to this really powerful idea called non-disruptive creation. This isn't about stealing customers from somebody else. It's about creating a totally new market by solving a new kind of problem or by serving a group of people who just weren't buying anything from that industry before. The difference is really simple when you think about it. Disruption is like fighting over one single pie. For you to win, someone else has to lose. Non-disruptive creation, that's like planting a whole new orchard. You're not fighting over the old market, you're making the old players totally irrelevant by creating a brand new one where new value can just grow for everyone. So if MoviePass is the perfect cautionary tale of a direct attack, what does this other path actually look like in practice? Well, let's take a look at Square, a company that became this massive success story precisely because it chose not to fight. Square didn't try to steal huge retail clients from the major credit card companies. Nope. Instead, they saw this massive overlooked group of people, the food truck owners, the artists at craft fairs, the local plumbers, all of them stuck in a cash-only world. By creating that simple little reader, they didn't disrupt the existing payment industry. They created a whole new one right alongside it. No fight, no backlash, just pure unadulterated growth. So why does this path work so well? Well, choosing to create instead of to battle unlocks 4 incredibly powerful advantages. Let's break them down. Yep, 4 of them. 4 key advantages that can completely change a company's entire future. These are the keys to the kingdom right here. You get to bypass the big players, you can respond to threats without getting into a brawl, you get your own team on your side, and you avoid all that public drama. Let's see how each one works. Think about when GoPro first launched. They weren't trying to replace Canon or Nikon, not at all. They created a brand new category, the action camera. It was tough, you could mount it anywhere, and it solved a problem, capturing experiences that the big traditional camera companies weren't even thinking about. So what happened? The big guys didn't feel threatened at all, and they just left GoPro alone to grow into a billion-dollar company in its own little world. Now, this approach also works for the big established companies when they're the ones facing a threat. Picture this. It's the 1950s and the Cunard Ocean Liner Company is a giant in transportation. But then jet travel arrives. All of a sudden, a 5-day trip across the ocean becomes a 6-hour flight. As a transportation company, their business was basically dead in the water. So what did they do? Did they try to build faster boats? Nope. They pivoted. They made a brilliant, non-disruptive move and completely redefined their business. The trip was no longer about getting from point A to point B. The trip became the destination. They basically invented the modern cruise industry, a market for luxury vacations, not transportation. They didn't fight the airlines, they just stepped off the battlefield entirely. Okay, this next advantage is so important because sometimes the biggest fight you face is an internal one. Trying to disrupt your own business is incredibly hard. I mean, just ask Encyclopedia Britannica. They saw the digital revolution coming, but their own super profitable door-to-door sales team fought the move to CD-ROMs tooth and nail because it threatened their jobs. Internal politics literally killed the innovation. Now look at the complete opposite over at 3M. A scientist there accidentally invented a really weak glue. Another employee realized, hey, you could use this for removable notes. The Post-it note didn't threaten any of 3M's other glue businesses. It didn't take away anyone's revenue, so instead of resistance, the project got all this enthusiastic support from inside the company. It was a new market that didn't hurt a single person internally. And finally, when you disrupt, you often stir up a hornet's nest. I mean, you're changing the rules, you're affecting people's jobs, you're challenging how things have always been done. That can lead to some major pushback from governments, unions, and the public. Just look at the ride-hailing service Tata in Korea. That was a direct disruption of the taxi industry. The result? Huge, angry protests, and eventually, the government stepped in and passed a law to ban them. But when Pfizer created a brand new market with Viagra, there was no industry to protest. No one lost their jobs. Sure, it faced normal drug regulations, but it completely sidestepped the kind of social conflict that disruptive ideas almost always create. So, what does all of this mean for you? It means that before you plan your next big thing, it is absolutely crucial to just pause and ask if there's a different way, a path of creation, not just conflict. At the end of the day, the lesson here is pretty simple. Disruption is a tool, but it's not the only tool in the box. Non-disruptive creation gives you this powerful, lower-risk strategy for growth by letting you just sidestep confrontation. It pushes you to stop staring at your competitors and start looking for the unsolved problems and all those untapped groups of people that exist just outside the lines of your current industry. And that really brings us to our final thought. The fight for existing territory is loud, it's crowded, and honestly, it's often bloody. But just beyond that battlefield, there are these wide-open spaces just waiting for someone to claim them. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What brand new market are you and your company completely overlooking?